The battlefield was burning. Captain Daniel Cross, a human soldier, moved carefully through the ruins of the alien city. Black smoke rose to the sky, covering the stars. The ground shook from distant explosions. He carried his rifle close to his chest, eyes sharp, ears waiting for any sound of enemy patrols. Daniel had been left behind. His unit had retreated after a heavy fight, but he was cut off, trapped in this dead city. Alone, surrounded, hunted. Every step felt like it could be his last dot, but then he heard something strange. Not the roar of machines. Not the growl of alien. War dogs. It was softer. A cry. A voice that was weak, almost broken. He stopped, heart racing. Slowly, he followed the sound, moving between broken walls and collapsed towers. The voice grew clearer. It was not human. The tone was different, sharp yet soft, carrying pain and fear. Daniel reached a half-destroyed building. The sound came from inside. He raised his weapon, stepped in, and froze. There, in the shadows, lay a young alien woman. She wore torn royal robes, her silver crown cracked, her arm bleeding. Even through the dust and dirt, Daniel could see the marks of royalty. She was no ordinary soldier. She was a princess. Her eyes widened when she saw him. For a moment, both stared at each other in silence. She was supposed to be his enemy. He was supposed to kill her or capture her. But something in her gaze was different. It was not hate. It was fear and a silent plea for help. "Stay back," Daniel said softly, pointing his rifle. The princess weakly tried to sit up, but winced in pain. Her voice shook. "You are human. Then kill me quickly. My enemies are near. Do not let them take me alive." Daniel frowned. He was trained for many things: combat, survival, tactics. But not this. He had never been told what to do when the enemy was a wounded princess, begging for death. He lowered his weapon slightly. "Why are you here? Where is your guard?" "They are dead," she whispered. Her eyes watered, but she forced herself to stay strong. "My convoy was attacked. I ran. I failed to escape. And now you find me." Daniel's mind raced. If his commanders knew, they would demand he take her prisoner. If the aliens found her, they would kill her for failing. But something inside him said neither was right. She was injured. She was helpless. And she was just another life. Before he could decide, he heard heavy footsteps outside. Enemy soldiers. Their voices echoed in the alien tongue. They were searching the ruins. The princess's eyes widened. She grabbed Daniel's arm with surprising strength for someone so weak. "Please," she whispered, "do not leave me. Hide me, or kill me now." Daniel looked at her hand gripping his armor. She was his enemy. But at that moment, she was just someone desperate to live. "Quiet," he said, pulling her behind a collapsed wall. He crouched beside her as the footsteps grew closer. His finger rested on the trigger. Through a crack in the wall, he saw them: alien soldiers in black armor, scanning the ruins. They carried scanners that beeped as they searched for life signs. Daniel's breath slowed. One wrong sound and they were both finished. The princess pressed closer, trembling. For the first time, he realized she was young, not much older than 20. A royal heir, trapped in the same nightmare as him. The soldiers moved closer, their scanners beeping louder. One of them turned toward the building. His eyes glowed as his helmet locked onto their location. Daniel's heart pounded. He had seconds to choose. If he fired, they would all know where he was. If he stayed silent, the scanner would betray them anyway. The princess whispered, so soft he barely heard. "You risk everything by helping me. Do you know what law you are breaking?" Daniel didn't answer. His eyes stayed on the enemy soldier now, just steps away. The soldier lifted his weapon, walking toward the shadows where Daniel and the princess hid. Daniel gritted his teeth, finger tightening on the trigger. He knew the choice he made here would change everything. The princess looked at him, her voice shaking but steady with meaning. If you save me, nothing will ever be the same. The alien soldier stepped inside. His scanner beeped violently. He raised his rifle. Daniel moved. The shot echoed through the ruins, and the war for his soul and for the galaxy truly began. The shot rang out, echoing through the broken city. The alien soldier dropped to the ground before he could fire. Daniel's hands shook on the rifle. He had just killed to protect someone who was not even human, someone who was supposed to be his enemy. He glanced at the princess. Her wide eyes glowed in the dim light, full of shock and something else. Relief. But there was no time to think. Outside, the other alien soldiers shouted in their own language. Heavy footsteps rushed toward the building. The shot had given away their location. Move, Daniel whispered harshly. He pulled the princess up, placing her arm over his shoulder. She winced in pain, but forced herself to stand. Her robe dragged on the ground, leaving a trail of blood. Stumbled out the back of the ruined hall, into narrow alleys filled with smoke and ash. The air burned their lungs. Distant machines roared like angry beasts. The princess looked at him as they moved. Why? Why save me? Daniel kept scanning the corners with his rifle. Because I don't leave the helpless to die. Doesn't matter what side you're on. She blinked at him, her face unreadable. Then you are already breaking the first law of the stars. Before he could answer, a screech ripped through the air. Above them, drones circled like vultures. Red searchlights cut through the smoke, sweeping across the ground. Daniel cursed under his breath. Keep low. He pushed her into a collapsed trench, covering her with his body as a beam of red light passed overhead. The drone's sensors beeped, scanning. For a terrifying second, Daniel thought they were caught. But the drone shifted away, flying further. Into the ruins. The princess exhaled sharply. They will not stop. You cannot run forever. Daniel adjusted his grip on the rifle. Then we don't run. We fight until we find a way out. Her lips curved into the smallest, almost bitter smile. Spoken like a human. They crawled through the trench until Daniel spotted an old transport tunnel. The steel doors were blasted, open, revealing darkness inside. It was their only chance. He helped her through, and together they moved into the shadows. Inside, the tunnel smelled of oil and burned metal. Flickering lights lined the ceiling. The sound of dripping water echoed. As they moved deeper, the princess suddenly stumbled. Daniel caught her before she hit the floor. Her face was pale, sweat dripping from her forehead. You're losing too much blood, he muttered. He tore a strip from his sleeve and quickly wrapped her arm. His hands worked fast, steady, like he had done this 100 times before. The princess stared at him in silence, her violet eyes filled with confusion. Why do you care? She finally asked. Daniel tightened the bandage and looked at her. Because if I let you die, then what's the difference between me and the monsters out there? She didn't reply, but for the first time, her shoulders relaxed just slightly, as if a wall between them had cracked. Then the ground shook. A deep, metallic roar filled the tunnel. Dust rained from the ceiling. Daniel spun around, raising his rifle. From the far end of the tunnel, a giant machine stepped into view, towering, armored, glowing with red eyes. A hunter mech. The princess's breath caught. No, they sent one after me. The mech's steps thundered like drums. Its scanners glowed as it locked onto their life signs. Daniel pushed the princess behind him. His rifle looked like a toy compared to that monster, but he didn't care. He had made his choice When he fired the first shot, he would see it through. "Stay down," he told her. She grabbed his arm, her voice desperate. "You cannot fight it. Even human weapons cannot. Break its armor." Daniel smirked grimly. "Then I'll find a weak spot." The mech raised its cannon arm. Sparks danced at its barrel. Daniel dove, pulling the princess down as a blast ripped through the tunnel wall, fire and smoke exploding around them. He rolled to his knees, firing shot after shot at its sensors. Sparks flew, but the mech kept coming. Its red eyes locked onto him like a predator that never missed. The princess cried out, "You're going to die." "Not today," Daniel growled. He spotted a broken fuel pipe leaking across the floor. Thinking fast, he fired at it. Flames erupted, spreading toward the mech's legs. The machine stumbled, momentarily blinded in the fire. "Run!" Daniel shouted. He dragged the princess through the side passage as the tunnel behind them shook from the mech's fury. Fire roared, metal screamed, and explosions echoed as the hunter tore through the flames. They stumbled out of the passage. Coughing, hearts racing. The princess leaned against the wall, staring at him with wide eyes. "You are insane." Daniel gave a small, grim smile. "No, I'm human." But before they could breathe, a new sound filled the air. Engines. Outside the tunnel, more enemy soldiers gathered. Their voices echoed. "Surround the area. The princess must not escape." Daniel's grip on his rifle tightened. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. The princess looked at him, her face pale but her eyes burning. "You cannot run. You cannot hide. Helping me has already doomed you. Do you not see? You are not just breaking human orders, you are breaking the law of the galaxy itself." Daniel looked at her, determination in his eyes. "Then let it break." The tunnel door above burst open. Soldiers dropped down one by one. And once again, Daniel raised his rifle. The tunnel shook with noise. Soldiers dropped through the broken ceiling, one after another, their armor glowing under the dim light. Red lenses scanned the shadows. Their weapons rose, pointing at Daniel and the princess. Daniel's finger tightened. On the trigger, he knew the odds. 10 soldiers, 1 rifle. A wounded princess leaning on his arm. There was no way out, but he refused to surrender. The first soldier shouted something in their alien tongue. Daniel didn't understand the words, but the meaning was clear. "Hand over the princess, or die." Daniel stood tall, shielding her with his body. "If you want her," he muttered, "you'll have to go through me." The aliens moved closer. Their rifles hummed with deadly energy. Daniel fired first. The shot cracked the silence, striking one in the chest. The soldier fell, sparks flying, then chaos erupted. Blasts filled the tunnel. Daniel dragged the princess behind cover, his rifle spitting fire. He dropped 2 more soldiers, but his ammo count was running low. Sweat burned his eyes. The heat from the energy blast seared the walls. The princess clutched her side, trembling. "You cannot fight them all," she whispered. Daniel gritted his teeth. "Watch me." One soldier threw a glowing grenade. It rolled across the floor, pulsing with light. Daniel's eyes widened. He grabbed the princess and dove behind a broken pipe. The explosion shook the tunnel, flames roaring through the corridor. Dust rained down. Daniel coughed, ears ringing. And then something impossible happened. The princess raised her trembling hand. Her eyes glowed bright violet. For a moment, Daniel felt the air itself bend, heavy with invisible force. The flames around them twisted away, curling back as if repelled. The tunnel shook as the soldiers stumbled, knocked back by unseen power. Daniel stared at her in shock. What was that?" she gasped, clutching her chest. Her glow faded. "A secret, one I should never have used." But it had saved them. Daniel rose again, firing at the disoriented soldiers. One by one they fell. Finally, silence returned. The tunnel smelled of smoke and burned metal. Daniel's rifle clicked empty. He tossed it aside, breathing hard. His eyes turned to the princess. She looked pale, drained, but alive. "You saved me," Daniel said quietly, her lips curved into a faint smile. "And you saved me first? Perhaps we are both mad." Daniel crouched beside her, checking her wound. "You should have told me you had that kind of power." She shook her head. "I cannot. It is forbidden. Even among my people, few know what I can do. If the Council discovers it, I will be marked as a danger to the galaxy." Daniel frowned. "The Council?" "The Galactic Council," she whispered. "The rulers of the stars. They make the laws you humans must follow. And one of those laws is clear no bond between human and royal alien blood. It is forbidden." Daniel paused, his eyes narrowing. "Too late. I already made my choice." She studied him in silence, her violet eyes glowing faintly even in the dark. "Why? Why risk your life? Why risk everything for me?" Daniel looked at her, his voice steady. "Because I don't care about their laws. I care about doing what's right. And right now, that means keeping you alive." The princess inhaled sharply. For the first time, she saw him not just as a human soldier, but as something different. Something dangerous to the Order of the Stars. Then Daniel's tongue crackled. Static buzzed, followed by a cold, commanding voice. "Captain Cross, this is command." Daniel froze. The voice continued. "We know your location. We know what you've done. You are ordered to detain the alien princess immediately and await pickup. Failure to comply will be treated as treason." The princess's eyes widened. She gripped Daniel's arm, waiting for his answer. Daniel closed his eyes. His heart pounded. He knew what this meant. If he obeyed, the princess was doomed. If he refused, he would be branded a traitor, not only to his unit, but to all of humanity. Slowly, he raised the cum to his lips. "This is Captain Cross," he said, voice low. The line was silent for a moment. Then Command's voice came again. "Confirm. Do you have the princess?" Daniel's jaw tightened. His eyes met the princess's. She was watching him, her breath caught, waiting for the words that would seal both their fates. Finally, Daniel spoke. "Yes," he said. "I have her." Another pause. Then the voice. "Good. Bring her in alive. If you resist, you will not be forgiven." The cum went dead. The princess whispered, her voice shaking. "What will you do?" Daniel's face hardened with resolve. "I'll do what I always do. Survive and keep you safe." Her hand trembled, but she touched his arm lightly. "If you continue this path, you are no longer only breaking human orders. You are breaking the very law of the galaxy." Daniel met her eyes, then let the galaxy break. In the distance, the heavy rumble of war engines shook the ground. More soldiers were coming, and Daniel knew there was no turning back now. Tunnels shook as more soldiers poured in. Daniel pulled the princess toward a maintenance ladder. "Up," he ordered. She struggled, her arm still bleeding, but followed. Daniel climbed behind her, firing short bursts at the shadows below. "Alien." Voices echoed, full of anger. They would not stop until they had her back. At the top, the ladder opened into an abandoned docking bay. The air smelled of oil and smoke. Broken ships lay scattered like dead beasts. But one small shuttle still hummed with power may be left. Behind in the chaos. Daniel rushed to it, helping the princes inside. The door slammed shut, sealing them in. He dropped into the pilot's chair, fingers flying over the controls. The old engine roared to life. As the shuttle lifted, alarms blared. Outside the viewport, Enemy ships swarmed. Sleek and fast, they moved to intercept. Daniel clenched his jaw. Hang on. The shuttle shot upward, engines screaming. Plasma fire streaked past the windows. Daniel jerked the controls, weaving between ruined towers. The princess held tight, eyes wide as the city fell away beneath them. You fly like a madman, she shouted over the noise. Daniel grinned. That's the only way to stay alive. But their escape was not clean. A blast slammed into the shuttle's wing, shaking the cabin. Warning lights flashed red. The hull groaned under the stress. Engines. Failing, Daniel muttered. We won't outrun them. The princess touched his shoulder, her voice low. There is another way. He glanced back. She closed her eyes, her hand glowing faintly with violet light. For a moment, the ships. Panels flickered, almost alive, as if her power was fusing with the machine. The engine surged, stronger than before. The shuttle leapt forward like a predator breaking free of a trap. Daniel stared. What did you do? She opened her eyes, pale and trembling. I gave it more than fuel, but it will not last long. Ahead, the black sky opened. Stars shimmered. Beyond the planet's edge. They were close to breaking free, but then a familiar voice cut through the calm. Captain Cross, stand down. Daniel's blood ran cold. It was command again, but this time, colder, harsher. We have your shuttle locked. Cut engines now. Hand over the princess, and you will live. Resist, and you will die as a traitor. The screen flickered on. Human officer appeared, Colonel Briggs, Daniel's superior. His face was stone, his eyes like ice. Cross, Briggs said. Don't be a fool. That alien is a princess of the enemy empire. Saving her is treason. You're breaking every law. Of war, every galactic law. Give her up. The princess sat silently, watching the screen. Her expression was unreadable. Daniel gripped the controls tighter. She's not a weapon. She's not a prize. She's a life. And I won't let her die. Briggs's jaw tightened. You've already doomed yourself. Don't drag humanity. Down with you. Behind Briggs, Daniel could see other officers. Their faces were grim. They were ready to erase him if he refused. The princess whispered, If you choose me, you will have no home left, no army, no planet. You will belong nowhere. Daniel's heart pounded. He looked at her, this alien royal who should have been his enemy. But she wasn't. Not anymore. Slowly, he spoke. Then I'll belong with you. Briggs's eyes narrowed. So be it. Fire. The comm cut out. Instantly, human warships moved into position, weapons charging. Daniel's stomach sank. His own people, the people he had bled for, were about to kill him. The princess touched the console, her voice trembling. There is a jump beacon ahead. If we reach it, we can escape into deep space. Daniel slammed the throttle forward. The shuttle roared toward the stars. Beams of light slashed past. Human ships opened fire. Daniel twisted the shuttle violently, dodging through the hail of plasma. The hull screamed, but they held. One blast clipped the side, sending alarms shrieking. Smoke filled the cabin. Daniel coughed, his hands refusing to let go of the controls. We're not going back, he growled. The beacon flared ahead, pulsing with blue light. But one last warship moved to block it. The biggest of them all. Its cannons glowed, ready to tear the shuttle apart. Daniel's breath slowed. His hands tightened. Hold on. He dove straight toward the warship, weaving through its fire. Explosions erupted around them. The princess screamed, but Daniel's eyes burned with focus dot at the last second. He rolled the shuttle, slipping under the warship's belly. The cannons missed, blasting empty space, and then the beacon swallowed them in blue light. The stars stretched, warped, and tore open. The shuttle vanished into hyperspace. Silence filled the cabin. The princess leaned back, her chest heaving. Daniel's hands shook on the controls. "We made it," he whispered. But in his heart, he knew the truth. There was no going back now. He had turned his back on his commanders, on humanity's laws, on the galaxy's rules, and all for her. A princess met his gaze. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "You have saved me again, human. But now you carry a burden heavier than you know. From this moment, you and I are forbidden." Outside the window, the stars burned cold and endless. And somewhere behind them, the entire galaxy marked Daniel Cross as an outlaw. The shuttle drifted in the endless dark of space. Stars glittered like cold fire, silent witnesses to the choice Daniel had made. He leaned back in the pilot's chair, his eyes burning from exhaustion. The princess sat across from him, pale and wounded. She pressed cloth against her side, her breathing shallow. Yet her gaze never left him. "You truly defied them," she whispered. "Your own commanders, your people." Daniel exhaled slowly. "They gave me an order I couldn't follow. I'm a soldier, yes, but I'm not a machine. I won't hand someone over to die, no matter what flag I wear." Her eyes softened, but there was sorrow too. "Then you are hunted now. Not just by my empire, but by your own. 2 enemies instead of 1. Daniel gave a bitter smile. "Guess that makes us outlaws." For a long moment, the cabin was silent, except for the hum of the engines. But then the ship's warning alarm broke the quiet. A pinging sound echoed, sharp and steady. Daniel leaned forward, checking the scanner. His jaw tightened. "Damn it. We're being tracked." The princess's eyes widened. "Who?" Daniel's hands flew over the console. "Both. Human and alien signals. They've joined the hunt." Her breath caught. "They never join forces. Not for anything. Except for us." Daniel finished grimly. The screen lit up with dozens of dot ships spreading across the void like wolves closing in on prey. The princess looked at him, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "We cannot fight them. Not alone." Daniel shook his head. "No, but maybe we can vanish." He pushed the shuttle hard toward a nearby nebula, a swirling storm of red and gold gases. Sensors scrambled in its heart. Ships could hide there if they were lucky. The shuttle dove in. Lightning-like arcs of energy crackled outside, bathing the cockpit in flashes of light. The controls shook in Daniel's hands. The princess held on, watching the storm tear at the ship. "We will be torn apart." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Better to risk the storm than let them catch us." For minutes that felt like hours, he guided the shuttle through chaos. The scanner screamed with interference. Shadows of pursuing ships appeared on the edges, then vanished again in the storm. Finally, silence returned. The shuttle drifted in a pocket of calm deep within the nebula. Daniel leaned back, sweat dripping down his face. "We lost them, for now." The princess let out a shaky breath. Her hands trembled as she looked at him. "You should have let me go. If I were captured, they might have spared you." Daniel's eyes hardened. "No, don't say that again." She blinked at his tone. "You don't get it," he continued. "I've seen what they do to prisoners. They would have broken you, used you as a weapon, or worse. I couldn't live with that." The princess's lips parted, but no words came. For the first time, she saw the raw fire in him, not just duty, not just rebellion, but something deeper. Her voice was soft. "Then you have tied your fate to mine. Our bond is forbidden, yet it grows stronger with each moment." Daniel said nothing, but his silence spoke louder than words. Then the ship jolted. The console flickered. Power levels dropped sharply. Daniel cursed under his breath. "The storm damaged us. Engines are failing. We won't get far like this." The princess's eyes searched the star map. There is a world nearby, neutral ground. Smugglers and traders use it. No council laws reach. There, Daniel frowned. You've been there before? She shook her head. No, but I have heard whispers. It is a place for outcasts. A place where laws are forgotten. Daniel studied her for a moment. Then he nodded. Sounds like the perfect place for us. The shuttle limped out of the nebula, engines sputtering. Beyond lay a dark world, half hidden by its rings. Strange lights glowed on its surface. Cities that never slept dot as they descended. The comm crackled. A low, distorted voice spoke. Unmarked shuttle, you have entered outlaw territory. State your business or be destroyed. Daniel glanced at the princess. Guess we found your smugglers. She met his gaze, her voice calm but steady. This is where our real test begins. Here, we are no longer soldier and princess. Here, we are only survivors. The shuttle touched down on a rusted landing pad, surrounded by neon lights and shadowy figures. The air shimmered with heat, and the stench of oil and smoke clung to everything. Daniel stepped out first, his hand on his sidearm. The princess followed, her cloak hiding her royal mark. Around them, eyes watched, smugglers, mercenaries, and killers. Outlaws of every kind. One tall alien with metal plating across his chest stepped forward, grinning with sharp teeth. Well, well. A human soldier. And a royal princess. Didn't think I'd ever see that. Daniel's muscles tensed. His hand hovered near his weapon. The alien chuckled. Relax, you're safe here. For a price. Daniel's heart sank. They had escaped warships and betrayal, but here in the eye. Shadows of the void, danger had only changed shape, and in this lawless place, trust would be the rarest weapon of all. The outlaw city pulsed with neon light. Smoke filled the air, rising from broken engines and cheap fires. Traders, mercenaries, and killers filled the streets. Every glance carried danger. Daniel kept one hand near his pistol as he guided the princess through the crowd. Her cloak hid her royal markings, but Daniel knew one mistake would reveal her identity. This place feels wrong, she whispered. Daniel scanned the shadows. It is wrong, but we don't have a choice. We need repairs, fuel, and a safe ship. Outlaws deal in all three. They entered a dim bar, carved into the rock of the city's underbelly. The room was thick with noise, alien laughter, clinking glasses, the hum of dangerous deals. Behind the bar stood a tall alien with metallic skin and piercing blue eyes. He smiled, sharp and unfriendly. You're new here. That means you're either lost or desperate. Daniel met his gaze. Both. We need repairs. The alien's smile widened. Repairs cost. Payment first, then we talk. Daniel pulled out a pouch of credits, slamming it on the counter. The alien weighed it in his hand, chuckling. Enough for fuel. Not enough for a ship that can outrun hunters. The princess spoke softly. We can offer something else. The alien's eyes slid toward her. And what would that be? Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled beneath the cloak. Knowledge. Safe routes through the Empire. Codes only a royal would know. Daniel stiffened. Wait, but the alien's grin grew sharp. A royal, eh? The bar went silent. Eyes turned toward them. Whispers hissed through the room. Daniel cursed under his breath. He stepped in front of her, hand on his weapon. Careful. The alien raised his hands, feigning innocence. Relax, soldier. I don't sell secrets cheap, but others in this place. His eyes drifted toward the shadows. They might pay very well. Before Daniel could respond, the door slammed open. A group of mercenaries entered, armored and armed. Their leader, a scarred reptilian, pointed at the princess. There, the bounty is real. A princess and her traitor guard. The bar exploded into chaos. Chairs smashed. Weapons were drawn. Daniel pulled the princess behind him as plasma bolts tore through the air. He fired back, dropping one mercenary. The alien bartender ducked low, shouting, "Take the back door." "Move!" Daniel didn't hesitate. He dragged the princess through a narrow corridor behind the bar, mercenaries chasing close behind. The tunnel twisted, lit by flickering lamps. The princess stumbled, but Daniel pulled her forward. "Keep moving." They burst into a storage room filled with crates. Daniel slammed the door shut and braced it with a steel beam. The pounding of fists echoed outside, got the princess's voice shook. "They know. Everyone knows." Daniel's eyes burned with fury. "Because you told them?" Her breath caught. Shame flickered across her face. "I thought it would help." "I didn't know." Daniel cut her off. "We can't trust anyone. Here, not one soul. The moment they smell who you are, they'll sell us both." The pounding grew louder. The door cracked under the pressure. Daniel scanned the room, his eyes falling on a service hatch above the crates. He pulled it open. "Up, now." The princess climbed with his help, her cloak tearing on the edge. Daniel followed, pulling himself into a dark ventilation tunnel. Just as the door below shattered, voices roared. The mercenaries searched the storage room, their boots crashing against the floor. Daniel and the princess crawled through the tunnel, every sound magnified in the silence. Sweat dripped down Daniel's face as he led the way. Finally, they emerged into the open air above the outlaw city. The skyline stretched out below them, glowing towers, dark alleys, and landing pads filled with ships. The princess's voice trembled. "They'll keep coming. How do we escape?" Daniel scanned the sky, his eyes narrowing. "We need allies, real ones." She shook her head. "In this place, allies are bought with blood, not trust." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Then we'll pay the price." Suddenly, a shadow loomed over them. The alien bartender appeared on the roof, a rifle slung across his back. "You survived," he said, almost amused. Daniel raised his pistol. "Why are you here?" The alien spread his hands. "Because I like survivors. You need a ship. I know someone who can provide one. But it won't be free." Daniel's voice was flat. "What's the price?" The alien's smile widened. "Not money, not codes, something rare. Loyalty?" Daniel narrowed his eyes. "Loyalty to who?" The alien's grin turned sharp. "To me. Join my crew. Fight my battles. In return, I'll give you safe passage through the stars." The princess's eyes met Daniel's. Her voice was low, heavy with warning. "If we agree, we become part of their world. Smugglers. Killers." Daniel looked out at the lawless city, smoke rising like ghosts. His heart pounded. "We're already outlaws," he muttered. But in his mind, one question burned. Could he trust this alien? Or was this another trap waiting to close around them? The answer could decide whether they lived to see another dawn. The outlaw city was burning. Fire rose into the night sky, ships screamed overhead, and alarms echoed in every street. Daniel and the princess ran with the alien smuggler, their only chance of survival. "Faster!" Daniel shouted as explosions shook the ground. The princess stumbled but kept moving, her cloak torn and her breath sharp. Behind them, bounty hunters and mercenaries fought each other for the prize, her life. The smuggler led them to a hidden landing pad. A sleek black ship waited, its engines glowing. He slapped the side of the hull. "The Black Fang. Fastest thing in this system. Get inside." Daniel didn't hesitate. He pushed the princess up the ramp, then followed, his pistol still in hand. The smuggler sealed the hatch and rushed to the cockpit. The ship lifted off as plasma bolts rained down on the city. Towers collapsed, smoke swallowed the streets, and war had found the outlaw world. Daniel strapped himself in and scanned the theme. Sensors. His blood ran cold. Two fleets had arrived. On one side, human warships, hunting their own soldier. On the other, the alien Empire's fleet, demanding the princess back. Both sides wanted them dead. The smuggler grinned, his metallic skin glowing under the cockpit lights. The whole galaxy's after you. That means you're worth something. Daniel shoved his pistol against the smuggler's chest. No tricks. Fly us out, or I'll end you right here. The alien smirked, but pulled the ship into a hard climb. Enemy fire filled the sky. Lasers scorched past. Missiles exploded around them. The princess held her seat, fear in her eyes. We can't escape two fleets. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then we make them fight each other. He seized the controls, forcing the ship to dive between human and alien ships. Plasma fire streaked everywhere. Human cannons struck alien hulls. Alien torpedoes tore through human cruisers. The trap worked. Chaos filled the void as the two fleets turned on each other, but they still chased the fugitives. The smuggler typed commands into the nav system. There's only one way out the rift. Daniel froze. The rift was a storm in space, a black wound filled with lightning and gravity that shredded ships apart. No one survived it. The princess gasped. It's suicide. The smuggler laughed. Exactly, which is why no one will follow us. The rift loomed ahead, swirling like the mouth of death. Black storms cracked with energy, swallowing light itself. Daniel's hands tightened on the controls. Every soldier's instinct screamed to turn back. But every outlaw's instinct whispered the same thing: take the risk. The princess's hand touched his arm, trembling but steady. Daniel, whatever happens, I trust you. His heart pounded. His voice was low, firm. Hold on. The black fang roared into the rift. Darkness swallowed them. The ship shook violently. Lightning ripped across the hull. Systems failed one by one. Alarms screamed in Daniel's ears. The princess cried out as sparks exploded from the panels. We're going to die. Daniel gritted his teeth. Not today. He forced the ship forward, pushing every ounce of power into the engines. The rift tore at them, trying to rip the ship apart. But Daniel refused to let go. For endless seconds, it was nothing but chaos, dark, lightning, and death. Then dashlight. The ship burst out of the rift into calm space. Silence filled the cockpit. The scanner showed nothing. No fleets, no hunters. They had escaped. The smuggler leaned back with a grin. Well done, soldier. You gambled, and you lived. You're one of us now. Daniel ignored him. His eyes turned to the princess. She was pale, exhausted, but alive. Her gaze met his, soft and steady. We made it, she whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. We're outlaws now. No home, no flag, but we're alive. Her hand reached for his, shaking but strong. Then we make a new path, together. For the first time in days, Daniel allowed himself a small smile. They were hunted, they were hated, but they had survived. And in the endless stars ahead, their story was only beginning.